Hello and good afternoon, people of YouTube. This is Ben and welcome to the Ben's Restos channel. If some of you have watched my videos before, welcome back. If you're new, well, welcome. Today is bike build day, new build. We're going to be building this very nice all city, all steel cyclocross bike. So All City are an American company from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Don't see many over here, to be honest. Managed to pick this one up for a bit of a song, so decided to build it into something cool. It's got some really nice features, like the forks are really cool looking lugged, sort of very traditional style, but it looks really nice, really smart. It's got some nice details on the frame as well, and the frame is actually it's in pretty good nick. It's had some use, but there's no dents. It's straight, no nasty scrapes, no chain suck, a few little chips here and there. All in all, it's in good workable order, ideal for what I need. So the reason I'm building this bike is it's really for commuting to work actually. So I normally ride my road bike, but now the nights are getting darker, the mornings are getting darker, and the road quality is deteriorating around here quite rapidly. Lots of potholes, and in the dark it's not much fun on a road bike with 23C tyres. So I thought I'd build something which is a little bit more robust, slightly chunkier tyres, good for a little bit of off-road, tow paths, bridleways, and I can use it all year round really for commuting and just general off-road fun. So this is a cyclocross bike. So the difference between a cyclocross bike and a gravel bike, there's not a huge amount of difference, but there are some differences. Cyclocross bikes are generally simpler, lighter. They're designed for racing, so they tend not to have many features on the frame for racks, mudguards, etc. Generally less tyre clearance, because for cyclocross racing I think they're restricted to 33mm wide tyre, yeah, so they're kind of aggressive geometry, slightly closer to a road bike I suppose than a gravel bike, which tends to have more relaxed geometry, chunkier tyres. However, this particular All City model was kind of criticised at the time because it was actually maybe not quite focused enough for cyclocross racing. It was probably a little on the heavy side. It does have some rack mounts, mudguard mounts and bosses. It's got 2 bottle cage bosses as well, which isn't always what you see on cyclocross. So actually, although it's probably not ideal for cyclocross racing and probably not the first choice for sort of general touring, bike packing, gravel riding, it's probably ideal actually, because it's got that nice supple steel frame feel. It looks cool, simple, but it has got reasonable mud clearance, and as I say, you can fit mudguards and things to it. So let's have a look at some of the bits that are going on this bike then. So you might have seen already, I did a video on the Groupset, so that's the L-Twoo R7. So yeah, please check that one out. So we're going to give this 2x10 Groupset a try. I bought some chain rings, 50-34 alloy chain rings from AliExpress as well. Again, quite inexpensive, but the ones that were on this SRAM Apex chain set were a little tired, so I decided to replace them. There's also a bottom bracket kicking around somewhere, but I seem to have misplaced that. I'll have to find that. What else we got? Yeah, we got some Tifosi gravel bars with a fairly aggressive 16-degree flare on them. They're 420 wide, so reasonably wide, nice and stable. Syncross 100mm stem, Chinelli seat post. Got some jazzy bar tape just to set the thing off. What else we got? Oh yeah, on one saddle, that was from the parts bin. I've got some clipless pedals from the parts bin as well, kicking around in my box somewhere. I went for 11-32 sprockets on the back to give me a reasonable range, but not too extreme. As I say, I got the 34 on the front, so it should be good for reasonable climbing. Tektro Oryx canty brakes. Bit of a blast from the past. Been a few years since I built a bike with cantilever brakes, so that'll be yeah, interesting. We'll see how they feel. Hopefully good enough for what I'm doing. I mean, these are kind of about as good as you can get without spending ridiculous money now on canty brakes. Got a few bits and bobs in here. What we got? Oh yeah, I bought some new bearings for the headset because one of the races was pretty tired and the other one actually feels alright. But I've got some new bearings. Yeah, that's the original M-Part headset that came with it, but I say with new bearings it'll be fine. Smattering of purple accessories just to you know, set off the yellow. Wheels and tyres, Shimano RS wheels, quite commonly used on cyclocross bikes, so yeah, be perfectly fine. These ones actually are used, but almost in as new condition. We've got some Continental Cross King CX tyres. I did contemplate doing tubeless on this build, but actually to try and keep the budget down a little bit, I stuck with tubes. But I did go with Conti tubes. Tend to swear by these, and I bought some Conti sealant just to pop a little bit of sealant in them as well, just to give a bit of puncture resistance, which I've tried on other bikes and it works very well actually. It's a good alternative to slime. It's slightly more slightly less viscous actually, so you don't need quite so much to get a good spread around the tyre, and it does work. Okay, well that's yeah, that's the build. Let's see how it goes. As if by magic, here it is. So here's the bike all built. Just taking it on its maiden voyage today. Done about 20 miles on it, and it seems to be running pretty well. Build went pretty well. There was a little bit of faffing required to get the chain line right. I think I've kind of got that in a reasonable place now to fit some spacers and things on the cranks at the front to get that to work. So we've got the Chinese sealed unit bottom bracket in there. Got the L-Twoo Chinese Groupset on, running very well actually. Gear change is nice and snappy, seems to be working okay. It's not perhaps quite as quiet or as smooth as a cam bag, but for a fraction of the cost can kind of forgive it really. One thing I did have to do was, you can see here the front derailleur, a couple of issues with it. First thing was this is a steel frame, so it's got a very small seat tube, 28.6mm, and the derailleur came with an adapter to take it down to 31.8. So in the end I ended up designing my own little adapter and 3D printing one to fit the frame, and that's working pretty well. Also 3D printed a chainstay protector as well. That's taken a few hits today with the chain and seems to be holding up alright. Also again, another issue with the front derailleur, it's a bottom pull cable, and the frame is set up for a top cable pull. Actually not all that easy, and there isn't a huge amount of choice of derailleurs that are 28.6 for a compact double chain set that are top pull. So in the end I fashioned up a pulley wheel, again 3D printed pulley with a cartridge bearing bolted onto the frame there, and that's working a treat actually, better than I hoped. So we've got Conti tyres with some Continental tubeless sealant in, though they are inner tubed. I just use the tubeless sealant, which seems to work quite well as puncture protect in tubes. The cantilever brakes, working as well as cantilever brakes ever do. I'd say just as good, perhaps slightly better than a caliper brake. See the very aggressive slant on the bars. Still getting used to riding on drops off-road. Feels a tiny bit weird, but I'm getting used to it. On the road, the bike rides really nicely, and the road quality is so bad at the moment anyway that it feels a bit safer on the road. You can kind of just ride over the potholes, gravel, without feeling too tentative. Off-road, on gravel, smooth off-road rides really well. I did a little bit of single track with some roots and stuff. Feels a little bit sketchy on the front end. I think I'm still getting used to the drops and the very narrow tyres. They're only 35C, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, for riding to work, riding down the towpath, gravel, feels fine. Yeah, as I say, this bike got a few cheap bits out of China, a few 3D printed bits, kind of a bit of an experimentation bike. So far so good. Just continue riding it through the summer, and I'll let you know if there's any issues or any updates. Well, I think it's time to have a closer look at it. See you on the next one, guys.